Hey guys, Akil here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast, one of the hottest trading and Forex podcasts out there. At least that's what Apple Music tells me. But seriously, guys, I appreciate the support you guys have given me throughout the years. This has been one of the hottest and fastest growing podcasts out there, and that's all because of you guys. Not only do you provide value in your feedback and your ability to share and spread the word about what we're doing here, but you guys provide most of the content, right? Most of the comments and questions that you guys leave, they become podcast episodes. So it's really a for you, by you type of deal that we're doing here. And it's kind of cool because that's what I envisioned it to be when I first started. And it's always hit or miss whether something actually kind of turns out that way or not. Now, in today's session, I want to share with you one of our accountability sessions with a trader named Clive. Now, Clive is new to the platform. He's a former Subway franchisee owner that just didn't really like the way things were going and decided to take another path. And part of that path was learning how to trade. And Clive's story is interesting because he learned how to trade twice, or rather, he got educated twice. First, on the fundamental side, secondly, on the technical side. And in this video, he kind of, or I guess in this podcast, I should say, he kind of gives a comparison between the two and why he leans one way over the other as far as which path he wants to pursue. And I think it's very interesting because many of you guys listening to this podcast are new traders. You are struggling traders. And at that very beginning stage of your trading, this is what we call unconscious incompetence, where you don't know what you don't know. You're often a little bit confused about what path you want to take, right? On one hand, you have everyone saying, oh, fundamentals are awesome. You got to read the news. You got to pay attention to these events and X, Y, Z. And then you have on the other side, people saying that technicals are the real deal. No, fundamentals don't matter. It's only the charts. You got to do this, that. And it's hard to really determine which party is correct. And what typically happens as a newer trader is you kind of bounce back and forth between both, right? You look at some technical, you find these little pattern things with little funny names, and you do that. And then you hear about fundamentals and you want to do that. And you really end up going nowhere, right? You either blow your account right away, or you end up in that Mark Douglas category called boomer busters, where you're not bad enough to go broke, but you're not really good enough to really make any profit out of the market. So I think this podcast will be very insightful because it may provide some insight and it may help you decide which path you want to take. Now, before we get into it, got to do some shameless promotion, right? Clive learned about us from YouTube, and then he came over and took the 14-day trial just to get a feel of what we have to offer. And I recommend you guys doing the same thing, right? If you head over to www.tier1trading.com, there are two things I'd like you to do. One, check out the free training that we have. If you haven't seen it already, we have a webinar called the Ascension Webinar, which is fantabulous. We have a 4-day workshop called Trade to Measure, where we answer really all of the questions that we gathered from the internet over a 4-day span. And then we have a 14-day free trial. So that allows you to get on the platform, hop into the live rooms, watch the videos, try out the software, connect with the community, and really see if this is the place for you. Because again, we want to work with people who want to be here. And if this isn't the place for you as far as, our teaching style and whatnot and our philosophy on the market, then you want to know that before making any type of commitment. So check it out, www.tier1trading.com. Lots of awesome stuff. Now let's get into the episode.
All right, traders, we'll go ahead and get started here. We've got Clive on for his accountability session. This is his first one. So Clive, welcome. Appreciate you signing up and doing this. So we'll just start off, since it's your first one, just kind of tell us who you are, kind of your quote unquote normal life, what you do, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, no worries. My name's Clive Yapyoung. I'm fairly new to trading as such. I think I've probably started off like many people. You go on YouTube, you find a few things here and there, and you think you're going to change the world if you go into it and try and learn the situation. But a funny thing happened where, sorry about that.
It's okay.
A motorcycle that was just passing by. Funny thing happened where I took a few courses. It started in binary options, the very, very, maybe a year or 2 years ago. And I looked into it, and obviously that was just gambling. and I wasn't, not paying too much attention to it and things like that. But as it went on, I went through and I started to educate myself a little bit more. I took a course, which was a very good mentor as such, but the fella who was teaching it, he was teaching fundamentals. And it was completely different from, technical analysis, so on and so forth. And it was extremely difficult because he was so advanced in the way he was teaching and things of that nature. And it almost came, obviously, it's second nature to him, but not to me.
Yeah.
And trying to learn the system, trying to learn everything there, you almost think as though, well, did I waste my money going in, taking this course? Because I still didn't know how to trade after you took his course and he was trying to teach you all these different things.
Right.
And a funny thing happened where I was watching a YouTube video, and my background is Subway. I'm a Subway franchisee.
Okay.
I've been doing it for the last 14 years now.
Oh, cool.
And I moved to Australia. I came back, got back into Subway, and things have just changed. The company's changed. So I sold up everything.
Oh, wow.
And I opened up my own thing. And whilst I was doing that, I had lots of time on my hands to, look in and see what I really wanted to do. And I came across a video. And in YouTube, there's like 6 degrees of separation. There's, everything is linked to one thing. So whether it's trading, you have all these other trading videos that will pop up and everything.
Yeah.
Well, you got this one video where I was watching a video of all these competitive eaters. And there's a Canadian fella by the name of Furious Pete. And it just so happened that Jason Greystone's video came up. Jason Greystone looked exactly like Furious Pete.
That's so funny. That's funny.
And I looked at it and I said to myself,
Oh, that's great.
What's Furious Pete going to teach about trading? And I looked, and as it was going through, I saw one of Jason's videos, and then things started to make sense. Just the things that he was saying and the things that I was experiencing was completely what he was saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I looked more into tier 1, and I saw Akil's video, and it just started to click.
Cool.
So I reached out to, I think it was Naomi, and I asked Naomi, I said to her, I saw a little bit of what you posted on the tier 1 site and so on and so forth. Can you just tell me a little bit more about it? Because I didn't really want to spend some, another big sum of money again and then not get anywhere.
Sure.
So she said, look, go and take a look at this. There's the 7-day sign up, and then there's a 14-day sign that you can do. Go take a look at that. And when you do, you can decide whether or not it's for you. And I did that. And during that time there, I kept in touch with Naomi, and I messaged Akil and I messaged Jason, and they replied. And basically from there, I knew I wanted to join because I knew I knew the basics, but I didn't know how to actually put everything together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah.
And when I was looking, like I said, I didn't want to spend more money again if I wasn't going to get to the point where I was learning, because I thought that, I'd go in, I'd learn a strategy. With that strategy, go and make a lot of money once I learned that strategy.
As most people do.
As most people do.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and I thought to myself, this guy's trying to teach me. He has 30 odd years of teaching experience, and, he's telling me how successful he is and everything there. Am I just not getting it because I'm not getting it? And I thought to myself, did I spend all this money for him to tell me that trading is subjective? And I didn't get it. And I didn't get that light bulb moment until I saw those videos. That Akil and Jason were.
What was the biggest difference between the two? I guess if you could pin one thing down or a few things.
For what? On the videos?
Oh, well, between the other person what things were subjective versus what we were saying.
Well, when I was asking him, because I didn't know when to enter, when to exit, and why he chose those points in getting into the trade. And he said to me, well, look, you're going to be looking at certain things in the news, and the news is going to drive certain things in which you get in at. So I was asking specifically because I wanted to know, okay, but, if I can understand if the news is going to drive it, but how do you know when exactly to get in?
Right.
And he says, and his answer to me was, well, I can't tell you that, because if you ask 10 traders, each of us are going to have 10 different answers for you.
Yeah.
And I thought, well,
That
I
doesn't
could
help
have
me
told you
any.
that. Yeah, so, could have saved myself $2,500 there if he told me that, but then again, I learned things from him from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't lose the money as such. I learned things. I just didn't learn enough to put it together to understand how it is. And not saying it was wrong. It was just his way of teaching. His way was the fundamentals as
Sure.
opposed to the technical side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And those were the things there. And that's what I said to you. That video with that YouTube video I saw of Jason the first time, that was the one there that made things go forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I looked more into the course.
Right. And what would you say is the biggest difference, I guess, for what you found at tier one that is helping you get to the next step? What's the different approach that you've seen?
Well, it's the structure.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you have your 90-day planner, and then you go through the structure, and it's you learn the foundation, and then from there you then become I guess you start to understand.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, the teaching for the others was you pretty much had to go and put the pieces together yourself.
Right.
And his approach to that was, well, you have to look at see what gold's doing. You have to look and see what the news is doing, and that's where you're going to be trading the pairs and why it is that you're getting it. And it just went right over my head. So same with when I went into the 14-day period or the trial period,
Mm-hmm.
when I used to go in and I used to watch the trading seminars with or the trading sessions with Akil,
Mm-hmm.
some of the stuff that he was talking about went over my head, and I thought, it's confusing me. So I'd rather step out as opposed to trying to learn and trying to see exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, because I wasn't there yet.
Yeah. Sure. Yep.
So it was interesting, but it was confusing at the same time, because I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know whether or not did I just waste my money for him telling me that.
Sure. Well, when you start something new, it's new and you have to start somewhere. But the problem with a lot of traders is they want to go right to the end, which is trade. I want the strategy. I want to trade. Can I trade tomorrow? That's pretty much how the mindset that many people have, which is to just get to the end already. But with anything else you've ever done, you never started at the end. If you want to get in shape, you don't just, can I go to the gym tomorrow and I'll just be in shape already and ripped or fit or whatever? It's not going to happen, right? You're going to have to go to the gym, 2-3 times a week. You're going to have to continue to do your exercises. You're going to have to maybe fix some problems that you've got with your parts of your body that don't work right if you're older. like I'm a little bit older, I'm having some issues, right? Or you need to do different exercises that you are maybe doing incorrectly. So there's all this stuff that you've got to learn kind of on the front end before things start to make sense and you can see some acceleration and improvement. So I think what you're saying is pretty much what happens to a lot of people, which is can I just get to the end, and then if I'm not getting it now, is it me, or is it just that I just need to give it a little bit of time?
Yes, and I think when I look at the platform and the difference between the two, that the person who was teaching me was only one person. Now he had many students that he would go on to one-to-ones and actually go on there. And those are the things there, that you have a platform, you have something I can build on, I can learn at my own pace, I can ask questions, I can do that. I mean, I think, emails that I've traded between yourself, Daryl, I've messaged Jason, I've messaged Akil, I've messaged Naomi, just those things. It helps because it's just a different perspective on certain things.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that helped me out a lot, because I'm looking and I'm thinking, I don't get this, or how do I do this? Is this the right way? Is it the wrong way? Or,
right.
Is it going to take me some time before I can actually go and get to where I need to get to?
Sure. And how have you found the community, like the other traders that you can talk to? How's that been for
Excellent.
you? Yeah.
Excellent. Like I said, with Akil, there's before I joined, because this is our summer here, so just before our bank holiday and everything like that, I was trying to get the summer out of the way, and then I was going to join in September and everything, but I managed to get onto the the 4-day workshop.
Oh, the workshop. Yeah, great.
Yeah. So then you ran your special and everything like that. I got onto that, and I said to I said to Akil, look, I'm going to try and get back in before the end of August so I can get on, and then I'll get somewhere out of the way, and then I'll join. And in the meantime, that I was asking, the one question I asked him was, what happens if I just don't get it? You know what I mean? You can think to yourself, this is my strategy, these are my rules, I'm going to do whatever it is. But if you're looking for the sunset in the east, you'll never find it. And he says to me, and then do you then say, you know what, trading isn't for me? And he says, no, the only time that trading isn't going to be for you or doing what it's when you quit. If you quit,
Yep.
then that's it, but I can always teach you.
Yeah, I mean that's true with anything. Anything you can learn, you can do.
Right.
It just some things might be harder than others, but if you can if you can learn it or someone can teach it to you, you can do it. Some things might be harder. You just might take more time depending on the person as well. So there's always lots of factors. But he's totally right. If you don't quit, you can learn anything, and that's really true in trading. I mean, and there's true in other things too. But I know at least what I've seen in trading is the resolve people have to learn this is because they come at it with the wrong perspective, which is, okay, let me just get to the trading so I can make money and have this new life, tomorrow, as opposed to, giving it time and actually learning how to do this. And it's a profession that you would go learn anywhere else. You'd take some time at it. You wouldn't expect to be a surgeon tomorrow. You would give it time and you would learn and people would teach you. Unfortunately, people just want to rush right to the end with some of this stuff, and that's really the wrong, absolutely, like you said, just the wrong way about it. I guess I'm curious, Clive, where are you at? If I could ask, where are you at right now? What are you working on in the platform or in your own?
I finished the foundation course,
Okay.
but I'm going over it again because, like I said, there are certain things there, like all the action points that at the end of each chapter, or not chapter, each module. Then I'll go over it, but then the more I do it, then the more I understand, the more I see it.
Yeah.
So from there, I won't go on to, I think it's the 2.0 after.
Yeah.
So I won't go on to that until I then go back over and I'm completely familiar with all the things I need to do.
Good.
Yeah,
I think that's good.
Sometimes also, there's one time I think on the workshop where I think it was Jason, he was saying that, just if you have somebody who's teaching and you just can't get it, sometimes just, a substitute teacher comes in, they say it a different way, and then all of a sudden you understand. And sometimes when I go over some of the material there, I'll go over it, and if I don't quite understand it, I'll go and look and do a little bit of research and see if I could understand a different way. And it then clicks, and I go back to the material.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do that, then it's just the repetition of doing it over and over again that helps me, at least.
Great. No, that's awesome. Did you have any, that was pretty good advice, I think, for anyone who might be coming in who's new. Do you have any other advice for anyone who's starting out with a membership here at Tier 1?
For me, you hear it. You hear everybody say, treat it as a business, and I think it really depends on how successful you want your business to be. And to be quite honest with you, you look and you think to yourself, okay, I can do this. I can treat it as a business. I can go in and I can work hard and I can do whatever I want to do. But then the end result is, whether your goal is to make profit and do whatever it is, then it's the effort that you put in. Sometimes you can go in and say, yep, I'm logged on to the system, and you sit there and you don't do what you need to do, but you're still logged on. You're not treating it as a business as such, and that's the main thing. I think for me, when it really hit home was when he said, okay, look, you need to treat it as a business. This is what I mean. Mm-hmm. And the things that you would normally do to make that business run, regardless if you're there or not. With that Subway shop, if I could say that if I wasn't there, it didn't matter at all because the systems were in place. It's a franchise.
Yep, absolutely.
So I walk away, it doesn't really matter. It will still continue. But if it was my own business, which I had after I walked away, I didn't make any money. And that was the problem. So when I looked at it from that point of view, I said, okay, if I'm going to treat this as a business, I want to treat it as a successful business of how I would do things the way I needed to do in order for me to get the results that I need.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice, Clive. Perfect. You hit it all on the head about just treating it as a business and taking it seriously. I want to know. I'm sure everyone else does. What kind of short-term or maybe longer-term goals do you have? I guess like kind of leading up maybe until your next accountability in maybe 6 to 10 weeks or so. What are you looking to accomplish? I know you said you're taking your time, and that's great. But if you have any specific goals that you want to reach in the meantime, maybe until you do your next session.
Well, for me, I mean, the main thing I guess, for my success is to make sure that I've accomplished what I need to do in terms of following the plan and trying to understand it now. That's the one thing there that I didn't get from the other course that I was taking. I followed it. I did what he told me to do, but it didn't sink in. I didn't understand why I had to do what I needed it to do. So for me, it's a matter of setting my own personal goals to make sure that I understand where I'm at and before I can move on. Because I don't want to follow the planner and then go through it and say, well, I'm at week 5 or whatever it is I'm supposed to be at, and I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yep, absolutely.
Or you get to the point where it might not take me till week 5. I mean, I'm ahead of the game, but still, if I don't understand it, it makes no sense to rush through it either. So for me, these are personal goals that I want to make sure that I understand it, I can digest it, I can repeat it, and I can explain it so that I can move on.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I think that tracking progress rather than activity is really what you're saying. I want to make sure that I am achieving steps in the knowledge. I actually am understanding it. I'm not just going through this, like you said, I'm logged into the platform and I watched this video and I watched that video and I did this thing or I checked this off on the planner, but I couldn't explain it to anybody. I can't do it myself, So I think like exactly what you said is that tracking that progress, making sure that you're actually progressing, you're actually improving in your knowledge as opposed to just ticking things off on a box.
Definitely.
Cool. So just I guess we'll kind of wrap it up here for you, Clive. But I don't want to leave you hanging. If there's any specific struggles or questions or something that maybe I can help with, I'd want to do that for you.
No, I'm okay. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, I'm following what I need to follow. I get help within the group. I get my messages answered, and no, I'm happy with how things are progressing.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear, Clive. I'm happy. I'm sure everyone else is happy too. All right. Well, we'll call your little bit here complete, and we'll get the next person up. I appreciate you coming on, Clive. Thank you.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Thanks.